Inclusion becomes a strategic asset when it is intentionally designed, aligned with organizational priorities, and reflected in everyday decisions and behaviors. When done well, it strengthens culture, builds trust, and supports employee engagement. In this video, we'll walk through the essential components of developing a meaningful, actionable inclusion strategy, one that supports people and drives long-term organizational success. Before we dive into the strategy itself, it's important to understand why inclusion matters in today's organizations. Inclusion shapes how people experience work, how valued they feel, how willing they are to contribute, and how effectively teams perform. Inclusive workplaces don't just meet expectations, they create environments where people can do their best work. Inclusion is not simply a compliance requirement or a nice-to-have, it is a powerful driver of organizational effectiveness and a true competitive advantage. The first step in creating an effective inclusion strategy is clearly defining your purpose. This means being intentional about what you are trying to achieve and why it matters right now. Organizations should ask critical questions such as, what problem are we trying to solve? Who are we aiming to better support? And why is this work important at this moment? A well-defined purpose creates alignment, guides priorities, and provides the why behind every strategic decision that follows. Next, it's essential to develop a realistic and honest picture of your current environment. This involves gathering and reviewing data that reflects employees' lived experiences and organizational outcomes. Sources may include climate or engagement surveys, demographic and workforce data, focus groups, HR metrics, and direct employee feedback. The goal is not to confirm assumptions, but to identify existing strengths, uncover gaps, and highlight opportunities for improvement, ensuring your inclusion strategy is grounded in evidence and reality. A strong strategy is grounded in a clear mission, vision, and set of core values. The mission explains the organization's purpose. The vision describes what the organization hopes to become in the future. Core values define the principles that guide behavior and decision-making. Together, these elements ensure that strategic decisions remain aligned with organizational identity and culture. Once you have a clear understanding of your current environment, the next step is to define where you want to go. This means translating insights into clear, measurable goals that are aligned with organizational priorities. Effective inclusion goals move beyond broad intentions and focus on specific outcomes, such as improving representation, strengthening employees' sense of belonging, increasing participation in employee resource groups, or building leaders' inclusive capabilities. Clear goals provide direction, accountability, and a way to measure progress over time. Inclusion work cannot be done in isolation. A successful inclusion strategy requires input and commitment from across the organization. This includes leaders, HR teams, employees, employee resource groups, and, in some cases, external partners. Engaging stakeholders ensures that multiple perspectives are represented and that the strategy reflects the realities of the organization as a whole. When people are involved in shaping the strategy, they are more likely to support it, champion it, and help bring it to life. With clear goals in place, the next step is to identify targeted initiatives that will move the organization forward. These initiatives should be intentionally selected based on the needs and gaps identified earlier, rather than adopting one-size-fits-all solutions. Examples may include inclusive leadership training, updates to policies and procedures, mentorship or sponsorship programs, flexible work options, accessible communication practices, or improvements to hiring and promotion processes. The key is to focus on initiatives that directly support your goals and create meaningful, sustainable impact. Inclusion only becomes real when there is accountability. Good intentions alone are not enough to create lasting change. Organizations must clearly define ownership, embed inclusion expectations into leadership roles and performance evaluations, and consistently track progress over time. Using tools such as dashboards, metrics, and regular reporting helps make progress visible and reinforces that inclusion is a shared responsibility. Accountability is what transforms inclusion from an aspiration into sustained, measurable action. A strategy is only effective when people know about it and understand their role within it. Communicating your inclusion strategy should be intentional, ongoing, and accessible to all employees. This means sharing information through multiple channels, such as team meetings, newsletters, onboarding experiences, employee resource group events, and digital content like videos. Transparency around goals, timelines, and expectations helps build trust, reduces uncertainty, and encourages participation across the organization. Finally, it's important to treat your inclusion strategy as a living document rather than a one-time initiative. Regular evaluation allows organizations to understand what is working, where adjustments are needed, and how employee needs may be changing over time. Inclusion is not static. It evolves as the workforce, organization, and external environment change. By continuously reviewing progress and making thoughtful updates, organizations can ensure their inclusion strategy remains relevant, effective, and impactful. Developing an inclusion strategy isn't about achieving perfection. It's about committing to meaningful progress over time. Effective inclusion work requires intention, consistency, and a willingness to learn and adapt. When organizations lead with purpose, actively engage their people, and build inclusive systems and practices, they create environments where individuals feel valued, supported, and empowered to contribute. Inclusion, when approached strategically, strengthens culture and helps organizations and their people thrive.